Koikimedia, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwa sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, kìnìún ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdán ọgbẹ́jẹ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè gbódùdúwà ga.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wa.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Pé ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
Koikimedia, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé gbúgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koikimedia ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ, àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á dẹ̀dẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. Koikimedia ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ, jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you work closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ o, tó ń kan gíoko lára ni.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Odùduwà la gbé dání, òtítọ́ la gbé dání.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sóníkèéta.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
A dúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia will bring you work closer to your doorstep. Koikimedia is around.
To give us latest.
Is around.
To give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pójú owó.
ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pójú owó.
Koikimedia is around.
To give us latest.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá, ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́. Nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba, tá à ń bú jòyè. Èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí, bó mo pera mi padà. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́, ẹ má bú olóṣèlú kankan. Ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀, ọba ò lè sọ, ìjòyè lè sọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú, ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá wa jà mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣe wọ́n ra wọn ara pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú, tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́, á gbé wọn mọ́ra, á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni, à ní bú wọn mọ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n, ẹ má jẹ́ á dàlúrú. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n, a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn, a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú. Gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́. Mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi. Mi ṣe tálákà tó tẹ́ pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá. Big man ni mí, àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀. Pẹ́sọ́wọ́ lè mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́, mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ. Kí n wọ gbowó, kí n gbéra, kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba Ìgbòho, mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin Ìgbòho, kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀, kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀, kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró ń títì, kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ. Àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́, wọn ò lè lóńdò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn, ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀, ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í, ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́, Jésù Olúwa wa.
Àwọn kan jẹ́ àwọn ọmọ wa tí wọ́n ní iṣẹ́ dáadáa lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé inú wa sì dùn wípé Ọlọ́run bùkún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọ́n ti bá ọkàn wọn dá májẹ̀mú wípé ní agbára Ọlọ́run by 2000 AD òmìnira máa dé fúnlẹ̀ káàrọ̀ òmìnira. Èmi sì mọ̀ dájú wípé Ọlọ́run Oòduà, Ọlọ́run Ọ̀rànmíyàn, Ọlọ́run Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀, Ọlọ́run Adékúnlé Ajáṣin, amúwadé ilẹ̀ tuntun náà nígbì tí ẹ̀gbin, ìyà àti ìrẹ́jẹ kò ní sí fún ọmọ káàárọ̀ òjíire mọ́. Tá bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ilẹ̀ ìlérí tí a fẹ́ lọ yìí, àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ òye wọ́n máa kù bí egbére. Lójú àwọn egbére tí mò ń wí, ó dàbí ẹni pé ohun ẹ̀yẹ ni kí ènìyàn máa wà nínú ẹ̀gbin, nínú ìyà, nínú ìrẹ́jẹ. A bá sì fojú wo, kì í ṣe àwa Yorùbá nìkan ni ìyà ń jẹ ní Nàìjíríà. Bí Yorùbá ti bọ̀ wọ́n ní àrùn tó ń ṣe ojì náà ló ń ṣọ̀ọ́dún. Ohun tó ń ṣe Abọ́yadé kọ́ o. Ìyà tó ń jẹ Ṣógbẹ̀yìn l'Abẹ́òkúta ń kọ́. Òun náà ló ń jẹ Súlè ní Kòńtàgó. Ebi tó bá ń pa bàbá múlò ní Adó-Èkìtì kọ́, tí ó yàtọ̀ sí èyí tó ń pa Ìkejùkù ní Abakaliki. Nígbà tí mo sọ Ìkejùkù ní ìsìn, mo wá rántí tí wọ́n láyé ló ń jẹ́ kí rántí o. Nígbà tí a wà ní Òbúgà, ẹ̀yin náà àti gbọ́, olóyè Akíntọ́lá ló ń pè ọ́gà ní Òbúgà. ó wá polongo ẹgbẹ́ NNDP lẹ́sà òkè ló ń bí ọjà wa ẹ̀kẹ́ tó bá ti kọjá ẹ̀sà wípé ẹ̀ lọ sókè bẹ̀sì. ilé àwọn Ìkejìkúlù. jẹ́bọ̀ àwọn aláìṣe action group àti NCNC àwọn àdí ọgbà àgbà yẹn ló bá kúkú mú ìgbé àti túkú ló bá pa á lọ. mi mọ̀ bóyá Bọ́lájí wà ní tí Bọ́lájí bá wà ní kó gbọ́ ilé yìí o torí tó bá di ọ̀rẹ́ mi á sọ fún ẹ. Chief Akíntọ́lá ó lọ sí òde ló wá ní wọ́n máa sọ men of integrity bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn kan wà ní tí wọ́n integrity o. wọ́n á ṣí ṣe òfin gbọ́ ṣùgbọ́n yẹn Àkúrẹ́ ìlú àwọn olú àti fásọ̀rọ̀ tí ilé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ Chief Akíntọ́lá ló ṣe campaign. gbogbo ẹni ọmọ òsì kò náwó sókè o. gbogbo wọn náwó sókè. gbogbo ẹni ọmọ òsì kò náwó sókè. gbogbo wọn ọwọ́ ni mo ti ń bọ̀ ní mo rẹ́ ní ajá sí.
Yes, this leader is bad, fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate and say no. But don't condemn your country. Don't curse Nigeria. It's a beautiful land of prosperity. I just have a full belly of rice, my man, everything. So before I overly digest it.
And a very good afternoon and welcome once again to our conversation on self-determination. Mo kí gbogbo wa níbi tí ẹ bá ti ń láǹfààní àti gbọ́ wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Koikimedia, the platform that brings what is happening around the world and as much as what is happening in Nigeria, where we are all asking for the right to self-determination. Mo kí wa pé Happy Good Friday and also Barika Jimoh. Mo kí gbogbo àwa tí à ń jẹ́ ẹlẹ́sìn àbáláyé. Mo kí gbogbo wa tí ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ wa ní wákàtí tí a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò títọ̀sán yìí. Let me first say that I am streaming from my house. My children are at home and they have the right to also make use of the studio that we are all managing. So until Yoruba people are ready to fund a lot of the media, then we can be able to have external space where we can do our broadcast. But apart from that, you would have to manage with us. Emma Bennett, our Instagram. I need to take that machine out. You can take it now. Where you would all be able to give me a few minutes. I need to do some adjustment here. Let's listen to this. But Moki Babakitoye, Moki Oloye, Dr. Sunday Omade Yemo Igboho, Moki Bobo Entity Darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. I'll be back in a minute.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tajọ́ káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí àwọn bàbá wa. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́. Nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba, tá à ń bú jòyè. Èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí. Bọ́ mo pera mi padà. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́. Ẹ mọ̀ bolóṣèlú kankan. Ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀. Ọba ò lè sọ, ìjòyè lè sọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá wa jà mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á ṣe wọ́n ra wọn la pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú, tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́, á gbé wọn mọ́ra, á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni, à ní bú wọn mọ́. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á ṣe jẹ̀gbọ́n, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á dà lúrú. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣe jẹ̀gbọ́n. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dà lúrú. Gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́. Mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ọba sọlówó lára ń dì mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi. Mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá. Big man ni mí, àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀. Pé sọ́wọ́ lè mi mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́, mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ. Kí n wọ gbowó, kí n gbéra, kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó, mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó, kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀. Kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀, kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì. Kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ gbé lọ. Àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́, wọn ò lè lóńdò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn, ká dá security ti wa lẹ̀, ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í, ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́, Jésù Olúwa wa.
And we're back again. Mokibogwa, we are on a full broadcast. That means that we are live on the Twitter space. We are live on Twitter. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and we are live on the MixLR. So if you're one of those that are saying that Koikimori program, that means you are probably not following all the platforms that you need to follow. I'll just say good afternoon. To many of you that have joined us. I will not be mentioning names. I haven't got the time today, but hopefully before the end of the program, we will appreciate you. You might want to get your pen and paper so that you can take and jot notes down. I'm going to take us to speed of what is happening, where we continue to ask for our rights. It's an inalienable right. I'm sure some of you recognize the faces behind that camera. In case you don't know them, or let me say all the faces, I have, like, including myself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 of us on the screen, apart from Inton Scroll, okay, which is just my account details. And, there's a date, the next Friday, Ojo Jimo, 29th, 2024. Ago Kon Abo, Ofilo Lulodowa, different time zone. So I'm currently in England, but we will say United Kingdom, where we can narrow it down to London. Many of us know the face. I will take you through the background in case you don't know. I've read a little bit about him, or I've read a little bit about him rather. He's a very powerful Yoruba man. And I'm happy that finally, he had the privilege, at least, to be in the Asoro. You might be asking me why. I'm going to speak in English and Yoruba. Please do not ask me to speak in English, or do not ask me to speak in Yoruba. I am not speaking to you alone. I am communicating to international audience. So when you look at the faces that you got there, we've got one of them that's a very powerful Yoruba man. Many Yoruba people don't know him. And I'm going to give us some background as well. A lot of us know Baba Akintoye is the leader of the Yoruba self-determination. A lot of us know the late Jeremiah Awolowo, during the Western region. Many people know Sunday Igboho. Is not just an activist. He's not a criminal. He's someone that decided that, for the sake of the Yoruba people and the future, òun fẹ́ jà fún ìran ẹ̀. And a lot of us also know, the man with the beautiful smiling teeth, the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There's another man there, right here, Nibibai. Who is this man? And why have I decided that I want to talk about it? So let me give you this picture properly so you can have a good picture of him. That is Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ mọ̀ sí ẹni tó ní Gatwick Airport. But ṣé Gatwick Airport la mọ̀ sí àbí ọmọ Yorùbá? He's a very strong Yoruba man that also has a lot of influence outside and inside Nigeria and Africa and Europe as a whole. And this afternoon, I just want us to catch up, with this gentleman. I guess he's in his 70s. We will have enough to talk about him throughout the program because it's a privilege, for some of us like this, we look forward to Yoruba businessmen, Yoruba that are doing very well around the world. But should we say that I've checked and I might be wrong? Please, if I am wrong on this particular conversation, let me know through the comment section or send me an email after this broadcast. I have searched before I started this program, so I might not have done enough search. I have not been able to see. Can I reduce this a little bit? I have not seen when Adebayo Ogunlesi paid a visit to the former President Muhammadu Buhari, but I saw one with Osibajo, but that was in Lagos. I'm not sure what they were having in Lagos, but I can say that throughout Buhari fi ṣọdún mẹ́jọ, I have not seen any picture of Ogunlesi visiting Aso Rock officially. So for somebody like me, I'm happy that Tinubu decided to bring him into the Aso Rock, at least for the next 8 years. He can lingo, he can go into Aso Rock if he wants to, because he's a very powerful man. Just like Dangote and BUA had access to Buhari for 8 years. So Tinubu náà bá fún bàbá yìí ní access today is not too much to ask for. But my concern is, what happened after Tinubu leaves in 8 years? Ṣé bàbá yìí wọ́n tún máa fún ní access? Kọ́lọ́n kó jẹ́ kí a rí bàbá yìí pẹ́ dáadáa. Kọ́lọ́n bá fún wọn lálàáfíà ara. Ṣé tí President Tinubu bá ṣe tán, would Mr. Bayo Ogunlesi have the same privilege again, just as he's having that privilege today because ọmọ Yorùbá ló wà níbẹ̀? He's a very powerful man. The question is, kí ló dé tí Buhari ò fún ní access láti darapọ̀ mọ́ government ẹ̀, even though, quote and unquote, I've checked that Trump also, have some thing to do with him in terms of strategic. But let's focus on the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Kí ló dé tí Buhari ò mítí Adebayo Ogunlesi throughout the period tí bàbá yẹn tí Buhari fi wà nínú orí oyè? But lẹ́ni a dúpẹ́ fún President Bola Tinubu to recognize bàbá wa Adebayo Ogunlesi. So we're very proud that Tinubu invited him, and I hope they will search the beam light for many Yoruba people, women, children that are doing very well and bring them to taste and feel what Aso Rock looks like for the next 8 years. Because Buhari also gave Aso Rock to many individuals for 8 years. But do you know that Buhari is now or would always be a guest anytime he visits Aso Rock? The same way the current president Bola Ahmed Tinubu would eventually complete his 8-year tenure, and he will be just as another guest in Aso Rock, just like Gowon visit Aso Rock, just like, Babangida cannot visit Aso Rock because he sits on the wheelchair, just like Jonathan and the other wives of the former president have done. So it's good that we can see that you can feel the energy. If you're a psychologist or if you're someone that study, Eric Tinubu feel very happy to host this man. Bóyá Tinubu try láti push bàbá Èkó Buhari tí Buhari ò gbà. I don't know. So you can see that President Tinubu is feeling on top of the world. Wait, Buhari kò tún ẹ. Happy Good Friday to everyone. I will not mention names as you're coming into the program so that I do not lose plot, but I can read all the comments and I can pick any time if I want to. But let's focus on the message and the broadcast. You can understand that this Yoruba man never got access to Aso Rock for 8 years. And we saw Dangote, we saw BUA, and we saw all other northerners and others visited during Buhari's tenure. Ǹjẹ́ kankan wà tí Buhari ò like nípa bàbá ẹ̀ ni kò ṣe invited? But like I said, I've seen pictures of him and Osibajo in Lagos during an outing. And that was when they were still in power. So as a lot of us today, I believe in the right to self-determination under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Self-determination is not a crime, and it can never be a crime because it is an inalienable right for us, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, and the rest of the 200 and plus ethnic groups or indigenous people marched together in 1914. But I want us to focus our mind again on Kilodeti. Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi never got a state welcome during the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Does it have to do with frictions between the northern billionaires àti billionaire ọmọ Yorùbá? Bóyá bàbá yìí náà ní kankan tóun náà fẹ́ gbà tí Buhari sọ pé no, òun ò lè fún ẹ nítorí pé ó ti wà lọ́wọ́ àwọn northerners. But this time around, the power has changed. The power is no longer in the hands of Buhari anymore. Buhari has left the government, but the power, they say, belongs to the people. But in reality, it doesn't happen in Africa. But we are seeing some changes that has happened in Senegal. Do not put Senegal in the context of the Yorubas. Gbogbo population àwọn tó wà ní Senegal. And let's look at some numbers. Because I know some of you will start thinking, ìyẹn la ṣe ní kí Sowore wá di president. The whole population of Senegal is not up to the population of Lagos State. 17.32 million, according to the World Bank as of 2022. So, we are not tribes. We are indigenous people. up to the population of 40 million plus. And I'm sticking to the numbers in Nigeria. And please do not tell me about Akponi Brazil, because as far as I'm concerned, we are not taking advantage of that yet. Because we are very good to say Yoruba Akponi Brazil, Yoruba Brazil only time wa, because I really engage one to tell them why we want our own nation and why they need to support us. So let us not talk about the Yoruba in Brazil. We can talk about the Yoruba diaspora that are still focused in Nigeria. So that literally means that we have what it takes. We have the numbers, we have the territory, and these are some of the indices. Tebani and what country, you have to have your own territorial ground. So as we are going to dive a little bit, let me ask again. Kí ló dé tí Buhari ò fún bàbá yìí ní access sínú Aso Rock? And we know that many times the rest of the Northerners and some Yorubas have access to Aso Rock, but you can feel the energy from this picture that Tinubu is very happy. And we hope that the happiness will lead to your own expectation. But for me, it is just another gimmick to continue to give the Yoruba people a kind of hope that there is still future in Nigeria, which we do not agree with. Because this hope that Tinubu is pushing out might be a very wrong signal. Whether Tinubu said at some point that he does not believe in Nigeria or not, Tinubu also at some point never agreed that Nigerians or Nigeria should remain one block. It was one of them. But today, Tinubu has changed the ringtone. Tinubu has now told us categorically pé gbogbo àwa tí a jẹ́ ọmọ Nàìjíríà táwa jẹ́ ẹ̀yà tó wà lábẹ́ pé òun bẹ̀ wá òun rọ̀ wá pé káyé máa bú Nàìjíríà mọ́. Èmi kọ́ ni mo sọ. I have the video which I played and I'll play it again in just about a few minutes. I want us to listen very carefully to this broadcast today, because this message that Tinubu is pushing out is preparing the Yoruba again for 2027. And please don't say, Ọlọ́run ìjà rí 2027. Ọlọ́run kankan sọ̀kalẹ̀ until we have to do the needful to stop whatever our own belief to self-determination. But I am not here to say this is what you have to do or not. But tẹ́ bá ń sọ pé Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ ká rí 2027. Ọlọ́run náà lẹ pè ta ní àní jẹ́ ká rí 2023. We eventually saw 2023. And 2027 is just around the corner, 3 years down the line. So if anybody just sit back and say, Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ ká rí 2027, well, lóòótọ́ gbogbo ala ní oríṣiríṣi Ọlọ́run tá à ń pè. But I think that we have to be serious, because Tinubu is already preparing the ground to convince many millions of Yoruba people why we should keep Nigeria. Let's listen to this.
Yes, this leader is bad, fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate.
Tinubu ni, yes, we all agree that leaders are bad. Ṣe dúró kásìkò ẹ máa fi ṣe tán and bring somebody else. So he's actually saying that tí àwọn Northerners, àwọn Igbo, àwọn Yoruba, the three major ethnic groups and the rest, do not agree with his own current dispensation, ẹ máa lọ tò náà ni o, torí pé òun lòun ni mandate tóun lò lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, whether it is a fraudulent mandate, whether the mandate was given to him, legitimate or illegitimate, that is not the issue. He's the president as we speak today. So the question we should be asking is it about waiting? Ìyẹn fún àwa tá believe in the right to self-determination, which is our inalienable right. Ǹjẹ́ ó tún lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ káwa tún máa gbọ́ nǹkan tí Tinubu ń sọ fún wa, àbí káwa wà lára àwọn tó máa tò pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè láti béèrè ẹ̀tọ́ wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọlúàbí, àbí the other way round for the right to self-determination, láti lè jàǹfààní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó máa benefit wa ju intern benefit nínú current Nigeria. But Tinubu ń sọ fún àwọn Nigerians pẹ̀lú ọmọ Yorùbá pé if you are not happy with me, you would have to go and use your PVC to take me out in 2027, because I am not going anywhere as we speak today. The Yorubas that believe in this self-determination, if care, and I'm trying to be very, very moderate, if care is not taken, we will not get Yoruba nation until Tinubu goes and the next president comes in. Because as much as we want it, as much as it is something that we believe in, it is not about Baba Akíntóyè. It is not about Olóyè Dr. Sunday Ọmọ Adéyẹmọ, popularly known as Sunday Igboho Oòṣà. It is about whether our fúnra we truly believe in this mission of exiting Nigeria, which the 1999 Constitution does not approve. Because if you're one of those waiting that there will be some kind of amendment that will then allow publicists, because this is the new word that I'm hearing from some of the senior advocate of Nigeria, and I will try and see what this meaning stand for. Or if you're one of those that think that welcome Afuani referendum, we cannot decide whether we are going or not, I can tell us that none of that is going to happen until Tinubu completes his tenure. Whether it's going to be 4 years, whether you will vote for him again, I don't know. So let me say this again. We will not get Yoruba nation if we do not tackle the real issue as we have it in front of us today. The real issue is that we want total exit, but your politicians that you are relying on are not ready, because Tinubu says here again that if you're not happy with me fún iṣẹ́ tí mo ní mo fẹ́ ṣe láti transform Nigeria, láti stabilize economy, láti protect the innocent Nigerians home and abroad, you would have no other option than to wait until my tenure of 4 years completes. Let's listen to it again.
Yes, this leader is bad, fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate and say no. But don't condemn your country.
This is where it gets more interesting. The same Tinubu, quote and unquote, that told us categorically that I don't believe in one Nigeria is now pleading, sending signal in preparing for the next 3 years. Fáwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pé lóòótọ́ ẹ lè má like our leaders tá à ń rán ìlú yìí. Lóòótọ́ ẹ lè má nífẹ̀ẹ́ wa fún iṣẹ́ tá náà máa ṣe. But ẹ má condemn Nigeria. This is another tactics. This is another game. Bring prepared. And this message will be grabbed by the same politicians. Say, okay, like wa, vote wa out, but ẹ má condemn Nigeria, because they have now seen that there is a tension of what we call campaigners asking for something that is different from the usual, which is self-determination. Ẹ lè rò pé self-determination is not being heard properly in Nigeria, but it is a message that has trickled down based on the activities of the job of Professor Adebanji Akintoye and Oloye Dr. Sunday Adeyemo Igboho and the YSDM and the rest of many different groups across board. So this message, which I have another evidence to back that, but Tinubu is telling us that stop cursing Nigeria. Ẹ yé pè Nigeria ní zoo. Ẹ yé pè ní country tí kò ní làákàyè, country tí kò ní opportunity. Ẹ ṣe fún ní time kó build, kó develop. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe. This is the signal that Tinubu is putting out today. That anyone condemning Nigeria, you are not a true patriotic citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But what Tinubu has not been able to tell us is Nigeria a country? Because he has used the word country, but the question we are asking him now, fẹ̀yìntì ẹ bá mọ̀ ẹ bá lọ pass message fún pé ṣé Nàìjíríà ṣé country ni ṣé ìlú ní Nàìjíríà àbí kò ń ṣe ìlú. A lot of evidence has been delivered even by people that are as heavy with the same right, but they have become a former. Ìyẹn mo ṣe ń sọ pé gbogbo ìgbésẹ̀ tó ń gbé pé àwọn tó ń lọ bá ní sọ̀rọ̀ is a very good move. We love it, we appreciate it. So gbogbo alọ́nrí ọ̀kan ní asọ̀rọ̀ mò ń gbé egúnlẹ̀ sí wá mò ń gbé kinní kan wá. These are temporary measures that can only last for 8 years, quote and unquote. Because when the next president comes in, Tinubu will be a guest in Aso Rock. Ó máa vacate Aso Rock just like Buhari has done and return back to Katsina, dead or alive. So today, Tinubu will complete his 8 years, and please don't say Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí 8 years wá. Ọlọ́run kankan sọ̀kalẹ̀. It has to be done through a lot of work, and that work is what we are not doing right now as individuals and groups of people. We are too over believed that it will happen, but it will happen with a lot of work to be done. So Tinubu will go back to Bodilon and continue his life, but he's already building another lies, because this is what they're good at, politicians. Please don't curse Nigeria. Kí lẹ̀ ń curse Nigeria fún? Kí ni Nigeria ṣe fún yín tí gbogbo yín wá ń bú Nigeria? Kí ni Nigeria gbà lọ́wọ́ wa tá fi ń bú Nigeria? The question we are asking President Bola Tinubu is that who created Nigeria? And what was the reason behind the creation of Nigeria? Ìyẹn àkọ́kọ́. And as you also know, that self-determination that we are saying is an inalienable right is not fully on the fraudulent 1999 Constitution, quote and unquote, as amended. So what we, the believer of the freedom of ourselves from Nigeria, is to continue to hammer with our local politicians on the grassroots, whether they are the senators, the House of Reps, the governors and the deputy. We don't have any business with federal, but we still have business with the state that we have sent to go and represent us, both in Abuja and currently inside our different state. They are not going to listen to us, but we can make as much effort to engage them, because Tinubu is saying now, gbogbo èyí tí ẹ̀ ń bú Nigeria, including myself, ẹ ní any right láti bú Nigeria.
But don't condemn your country. Don't curse Nigeria. It's a beautiful land.
Again, another fraud. The land does not belong to Nigeria. The land belongs to the indigenous people. Àwa ìrànmọ́ Yorùbá, àwọn ìrànmọ́ Igbo, àwọn ìrànmọ́ Hausa, àti bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. And that is why 16 soldiers were killed. Whether I am pleased with that or not is not the question. It has to do with land, ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀, àti ọ̀rọ̀ nǹkan tó wà lábẹ́ ilẹ̀ yẹn that led to the death of those 16 soldiers. There will be much more frictions and more death in Nigeria. We know that there have been a lot of death since Tinubu came to power. And as we said, that is about 6,931 innocent Nigerians have died. Nigeria will not be the last country to break away. Yugoslavia, as you can see, former Yugoslavia break away, and many countries came out of it and the war did not come to an end. But it was not an easy task. It has to do with dedication. It has to do with upright. Many of Yoruba people, we are not upright. We are not ready yet. What we like to do is that we've left the major reason. And I like to appreciate one of my beautiful auntie as I was watching her, delivering a speech during a presentation on a program yesterday. I have said it and I say it clearly. Without mixing word, we can get out of Nigeria without any confrontation, but that chances is very, very slim. Or we can get out with confrontation. It depends on what we want. Whether we continue to mobilize, which is what we are doing right now, is great. But your politicians knows that all your mobilization does not have the strength and the capacity on the ground. Níbi tí a ti ń béèrè fún right wọn yẹn gangan. What activities is going on right now? There is no fund to run those activities. Those that think that we don't need a fund, those that think that we don't need to mobilize, is not by giving people money, but by mobilization of the people and preparing them. You don't give a date for such. It's going to be spontaneous. People will just wake up, and this is why the mobilization of what we are doing right now is great. Tebaro Kwiran, Baba, Ogunlesi, and the rest of them, they will get involved with this kind of message. They are not. We have to prepare our mind. Let's listen to this. But before that, I think, let me take us through the background of Mr. Bayo Ogunlesi that paid a courtesy visit to Aso Rock. All that will last for 8 years. The next northern president might not even invite him for coffee, not to talk about having access to Aso Rock again. But while he's in Aso Rock, and at least for the time Tinubu fi wà lórí oyè, let him enjoy just as many have done in the past as well. And that is why I said, let's give them the privilege that it is our turn. Let those that have access to the government enjoy it as much as you can. All that is just a temporary measure. It is not going to last a very long time. So if you're one of those that thinks that I can enjoy while Tinubu is there, please do not hesitate. Take advantage, because many did the same thing when Buhari was in power. We can now say that many money was lost when Buhari was in power. I will say that many money will be lost when Tinubu complete his tenure as well. This is a live transmission, and my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, one of the campaigners for the right to self-determination of the Yoruba people under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Let me give us a background of Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi. According to the Financial Times, like I said, he was never invited. And please, if you come across any of the visit that I probably missed when Buhari was there, let me know and I will correct myself. But I can confirm that I've never or saw one throughout the search engine I did before this program. How Adebayo Ogunlesi contrarian bet led to $12.5 billion BlackRock tie-up. Global Infrastructure Partners co-founder steps into the limelight with transformation deal. Adebayo Ogunlesi, co-founder of Global Infrastructure Partners, credit his wife Amelia for a career switch that led on Friday to a $12.5 billion deal and a leadership position at the BlackRock, the world's largest money manager. These are the kind of individuals that we need in the Yoruba nation struggle. These are the kind of people that can give us a lot of money, but they are not going to get involved in the movement because they are trying to protect their own interest. So if you're one of those that think that you will get access to where this person will give you money, they are not going to give you money. I don't know whether he still believes in Nigeria or not, but like I said, Buhari did not invite him into the into the Aso Rock for 8 years, even though we know the caliber of this man. And that is what I'm going to read out so that you can have a better understanding. Everyone just know that Mobatini Gatwick, Emani Adebayo. Is it all about Gatwick? It's more than that. In 2005, Ogunlesi Adebayo, then a top banker at Credit Suisse, was summoned to Omaha, Nebraska by the energy arm of Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, to study a large takeover. It was the kind of call most financials dream of. But Ogunlesi Adebayo complained to his wife, "I really don't want to go." In an interview with the Financial Times, he said his wife offered an ultimatum. Either you decide you like your job and you want to keep doing it, or you decide you don't go. Find something else. But please don't think you can spend the next 5 years mourning, which is what we are saying to those of us. Stop mourning. Let's take the bull by the horn and move out of Nigeria. But what most of us are doing is we are mourning individuals and we are expecting a transformation change by the leaders that are not going to give you such a transformation change in that shit old country called Nigeria, even though President Tinubu say we should stop calling Nigeria shit hole. After that kick in the behind, Adebayo Ogunlesi quit banking at the age of 52 years old, decided to try his hand as an investor. Adebayo Ogunlesi and a handful of colleagues, mostly from the Credit Suisse, consider private equity, then near the apex of a pre-financial crisis takeover bubble. But they opt for a contrarian bet, raising a fund to invest in the niche sector where he had done his first deal in 1983. The financing and operating of airports, energy plants, and other crucial infrastructure. We pick infrastructure because that was an area where there was a very little competition, says Ogunlesi Adebayo, now 70 years old. In 17 years, Global Infrastructure Partners quietly amassed $105 billion in assets and pioneered a booming $1 trillion sector that is one of the fastest growth segments of money management. BlackRock Chief Executive Larry Fink said Friday's deal was transformational for the larger group's ambition in private market. I have seen the governor of Ogun State, Abiodun, invited this man to Ogun State as well. But the question is, why has he not invested heavily in Nigeria mostly in the southwest, just like Dangote has done in the southwest. Kí yẹn máa ró lọ́kàn gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé kí ló dé tí bàbá yìí tí kò tí ì gbé àwọn investors ẹ̀ pé kọ́ wá bá wa invest náà sínú Nàìjíríà, mostly within the southwest, because Dangote was very smart. He knew that if he takes his refinery to the north, it's not going to make any headline. Ó wá gbé wá sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ using the Nigeria to profile. So maybe this is what Tinubu wants to do as well. We don't know. I don't have the details of what the conversation was behind the curtains. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever this man invests in Nigeria, just pray that kí military má tẹ̀ gbàjọba débi pé wọ́n tún máa hijack gbogbo ẹ̀, just like they did during the western region. Tí military bá gbàjọba, gbogbo tó bá jẹ́ ti north wọ́n máa keep ẹ̀ nítorí pé àwọn náà lọ ní. Maybe this man tí ó ní access sí $1 trillion at least, and also the global infrastructure partner tó jẹ́ co-founder, wọ́n ní a total value of $105 billion. Do you know what that means? Maybe I should show you this again. Remember that the whole owó tí Nàìjíríà pa ní 2022, historical data jẹ́ kó yé wa pé the total value owó tí Nàìjíríà pa pẹ̀lú export pé atajà síta was not up to $100 billion. Wọ́n wá ní bàbá yìí, ìyẹn ilé iṣẹ́ tó ní tó dá sílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn colleagues ẹ̀, have a total of $105 billion. That tells you something. That tells you that the Yoruba people can move the mountain. But bàbá yìí mọ̀ pé òun ò lè move mountain tí a bá ṣì wà nínú Nàìjíríà. Èmi kàn sọ tèmi ni o, mo mọ tó wà lẹ́mìí bàbá yìí. Because you be expecting that tó bá ń sọ fún wa pé ṣé mo pa wà tá lówó tó pọ̀ nísìn, àwa làwa stupid. And I don't feel sorry to say that, including myself, because àwọn bàbá tó lówó báyìí tó kàwé àṣìmádé section yẹn, ó kàwé débi pé ó ní knowledge, kò wá gbé owó ẹ̀ lọ invest ní Nàìjíríà, ó wá gbé owó yẹn ó invest ẹ̀ síta. But àwa pẹ̀lú tẹ́tẹ́ kọ́bọ̀ ta ní, what we have done is that we have continued to move our money into Nigeria, and that has literally failed every single one of us in terms of investment. Because àwọn proper investors nílùú bàbá yìí, àwọn ní owó, wọ́n ní network, wọ́n ní connection, wọ́n ò gbé owó yẹn lọ sínú Nàìjíríà. But àwa tí jẹ́ pé à ń bẹ Ọlọ́run ní, àwa làwa gbé owó tiwa lọ sínú Nàìjíríà. Gbogbo owó tí gbogbo yín gbé lọ sínú Nàìjíríà, you can put in the comment section if you feel like, maybe kó lè bá kúrò ní igbá àyà yín, torí ẹlòmíì ṣì ń nọ́ọ̀sẹ̀ dọ́là gbogbo lóònù tẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ́gbà lára iṣẹ́ 8 hours tẹ́ ń ṣe, ẹ wá gbé owó yẹn lọ invest ní Nàìjíríà. What has been the return after 17 years? Because à ń gbọ́ nísìnyí pé in 17 years, global infrastructure partner quietly amassed $105 billion. Mo wá fẹ́ jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó máa gbọ́ mi lénìí àtẹni tó máa láǹfààní àti gbọ́ a repeat of this program èní ní 29 March 2024. Ẹ work out padà sẹ́yìn pé in the last 17 years, gbogbo nǹkan tí mo invest nínú Nàìjíríà, kí ni mo amaze pẹ̀lú ẹ̀? Ṣé mo rí returns àbí mo rí returns? Ǹjẹ́ tó bá yẹ pé mo keep owó yẹn síta tó ń ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà, it could be even in other African countries, or it could be anywhere in the Europe, ǹjẹ́ mo ní ti rí returns? It's because we were fooled that Nigeria was going to prosper. We were deceived. You can ask yourself, your friends, and your network. Gbogbo owó tèmi ti gbé sínú Nàìjíríà in the last 17 years, ṣé o rí returns padà? And tó bá rí returns, where is the money? Ṣó ṣì wà nínú Nàìjíríà? Ṣé value ẹ̀ ṣì wà bó ṣe wà nígbà tó ń ṣe expectation yẹn? And this is what we should start thinking, that ìwọ tó ṣe rò pé o fẹ́ lọ invest nínú Nàìjíríà, there's nothing wrong in that. I am not a financial adviser, but irú àwọn bàbá yìí ò invest sínú Nàìjíríà. Why? Kí ló dé tí bàbá Adébáyọ̀ Ògúnlẹ́sì ò invest sínú Nàìjíríà? Because he is from Nigeria. Òun mọ̀ pé 200 million ni wá, ó rí pé population yẹn dá, but kí ló dé tí kò gbé owó ẹ̀ lọ invest nínú Nigeria? Let's move forward. According to the tie-up we put Ogunlesi on the Black Rocks Board and Global Executive Committee pushing the publicity shy. Wọ́n ní bàbá yìí ó wà shy. Kò sọ̀rọ̀ kò lápọn. A Nigerian born financier into the spotlight, which is what Tinubu has done today. Tinubu has now brought him back to spotlight tí olórí burúkú Buhari tí kò ṣe. I am happy to see this man in the spotlight with the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because for 8 years, like I said, Buhari did not allow him that same spotlight like they gave to Dangote, BUA, and many others like that. Because Buhari promote àwọn yẹn, but kò promote ọmọ Yorùbá. I don't know why. So Tinubu ní right láti pè wá sílé pé bàbá ẹ̀yin máa bọ̀ èmi lèmi ní bíbá ẹni sìn at least for the next 4 years, because Tinubu náà ti sọ nísìnyí pé tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá like òun ẹ vote òun out. So I just hope that this is not a message that Tinubu fúnra rẹ̀ gan kò expect pé òun fẹ́ padà wá ní 2027. Maybe there's a kind of a deal behind the curtain. So I hope that àwa tá a ní tí Tinubu bá padà wá ní 2028 àwa ṣe tá à ń fẹ́ fún wa. I hope that we will not cry. I don't know. Because I know every politician wants to run 2 terms if possible. Kódà, there's a country currently that changed their constitution. I think it's Togo. How many of us know that Togo has changed their constitution? You want me to lock the door? Okay, I'm coming. How many people know that Togo actually changed their constitution? And do you know that the purpose of changing that constitution into a parliamentary is because ẹni tó wà níbẹ̀ nísìn ó fẹ́ take advantage, and the same family have ruled for the last 54 years. So bí a Tinubu náà ní ambition yẹn pé tá bá change sí parliamentary system of government, òun á continue láti máa di president, or kóun tẹ̀ fìjọba sílẹ̀ kóun dá padà fún north, because àmọ́ kí ni arrangement yẹn. Even if he ends up using 8 years, the question is gbogbo tí bàbá ìbá tẹ̀ wá invest in Nigeria, what happened after 8 years? Let's listen to this while I come back. Ẹ rántí pé àwọn bankers ni wọ́n ní wọ́n bà Nàìjíríà jẹ́ tó pọ̀ jù. Ṣé bàbá yìí mọ̀ pé tóun bá gbóhùn wá sí Nàìjíríà kó má jẹ́ pé ẹ máa finish òun just like bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe finish àwa mẹ̀kúnnù kéékèèké takọ̀ rọra gbé owó kéékèèké táwa ní, because púpọ̀ ní wọ̀ lówó tó pọ̀. So we came with small money to invest in Nigeria, but many of us, at least somebody like me, I would not invest in Nigeria for the time being, even if I have the means to, because it's a waste of time. The little that I invest, nígbà tá I invest, returns lé lórí, it was just a complete wastage. But ibi tí gbọ́n lọ́dọ̀ ara bàbá yìí nísìn pé bàbá yìí gan invest ní Nàìjíríà, but Tinubu wá fẹ́ force wá nísìn kó wá invest. Ẹja gbọ́n nǹkan tí Pastor Femi Emmanuel sọ níbí bá wọn padà bọ̀.
I pray God will give Aṣíwájú to do it, because it will affect even himself. It will affect all the APC powers. It will affect all the MDs of banks. The MDs of banks are the destroyer of this system. The powerful, the high and the mighty. He is stepping on their toes. I pray God give him the grace to do it. The next thing he should do, tell him if you know him, is to restructure this country. Nigeria is a fraud. One particular tribe repressing the whole of us. Did you hear what central bank governor wants to do? Just a department, the operation department of central bank, to be moved back to Lagos, where you have 99% of the headquarters of bank. The north is agitated. Don't take Abuja back to Lagos. They don't care. If you all become beggars, it's okay for their oligarchic mentality. I talk like no other pastor talk. I talk like no other pastor talk. Because I have seen into governance, I have seen into the church. And I know where the problem is in this country. Are you hearing me? They may not like what I'm saying, but they cannot dispute the truth. This country cannot go on like this. Okay, I was talking about those who migrated. I don't blame those that want to japa. You know, initially I was saying don't japa. Do you hear me say that again? Japa if you want to japa. Because you look at the country and say, what future? If it goes on like this, what future? If it goes on like this, civil war is imminent. If it goes on like this, military intervention is imminent. Do we want to go back to that? No. Something must happen. I have always believed that something must happen. Do you see the way we pray in this church? Make Nigeria one. We don't pray. Nigeria is not one, and it can never be one. We are different nations tied together by force. We should still be one country, but let everyone govern himself the way he likes. Are you hearing me? Let the Niger Delta have their oil. Let the East have their resources. Let the Yoruba people have their resources. Let the North have their resources. Let them manage their security. Give them state police. Let everybody guard his borders. Let everybody generate his economy. Why must we generate oil in the Niger Delta and take it to the North? Why must we generate IGR here, or the VATs, and take it to the North that generate nothing? The 10 key northern states have Sharia. Sharia says no to alcohol. Sharia says no to tobacco. But alcohol and tobacco is what give us VAT here. And you take the money from there to spend where you say you don't want, but you like the money. Fraud, unfairness, injustice. Where did we sit down to make Nigeria 36 states? Where did we sit down? Nigeria was negotiated 3 regions: North, West, East. 1963, by plebiscite, Midwest came in. Where did we sit down and say we shall be 36 states plus Abuja, and the biggest one taken to the North? More local governments. Then we came with federal character. You are qualified, but from the tribe you came from, you can't be qualified. Now, you can't pass any law in that National Assembly without Northern approval. They are in larger quantity. Deliberately made so. So how do we go from there?
And that was Pastor Femi Emmanuel. Thank you so much to the man of God for saying the truth. Let's come back again to Babawa, Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi. As we go back into his background, the tie-up we put Ogunlesi Adebayo on the BlackRock's board and global executive committee, pushing the publicity-shy Nigerian bond financial into the spotlight. It also cements his status as one of the Wall Street wealthiest and the most powerful figures. He and his global infrastructure partner colleagues will collectively become the second largest shareholders of BlackRock, a nearly $120 billion company. In the early days, now àwọn tó mọ bàbá yìí wọ́n wá fún wa ní background bàbá yìí ẹ farabalẹ̀ ká jọ gbọ́. In the early days, people underestimate Bayo Adebayo Ogunlesi, said Kenneth Chinot, former CEO of America Express and a close friend of Adebayo Ogunlesi, since both were at Harvard Law School. He was flying under the radar, and then people woke up one day and saw Global Infrastructure Partner was a $50 billion fund. What he has done is amazing and historical. This is the future that we want in Yoruba land. The future that our wealthy, innocent, wealthy Yoruba men and women can come back and invest in the Yoruba economy. Invest in the Yoruba economy and make the Yoruba the global power of the world. But I don't know the game that Asiwaju is trying to put behind Ogunlesi to pull out some of his wealth and bring it into Nigeria, knowing fully well that òun fúnra rẹ̀ 8 years ló ní, but he only have the 4 years tenure to start with. So tí Adebayo Ogunlesi tó bá gbé gbogbo owó yẹn wá sínú Nigeria, till the next government comes in, do you think that he will be able to take half of the money out of Nigeria? Because we have seen that many àwọn tí wọ́n wá tẹ̀ invest in Nigeria lẹ́nìí, they are struggling due to making out of Nigeria. Yes, Tinubu did not destroy the Nigerian economy, but the Nigerian economy has been destroyed for a very, very long time, and we have been living in denial because of that. So Adebayo Ogunlesi then won a prestigious Supreme Court clerkship working for Thurgood Marshall, the first black justice. It was one of the best jobs I have ever heard, he said. The justice provided a model that still influences him today. When you watch somebody who is a giant, just like Bashenwu Baba Akintoye as our hero, our giant, our icon, but even though many people continue to criticize him in the hope that they can fix a country that is not fixable, and I'm going to prove that again today. When you watch somebody like Adebayo Ogunlesi, who is a giant or an icon, and see that he conducts himself as a normal person, you cannot help but learn from that, said Adebayo Ogunlesi. Be serious in what you do. So our Tadolori Yoruba nation, let us remain serious, let us remain focused. There's a lot of work ahead for us to cover, and the most important is to go back to the grassroots and inform our people that the reason why you are poor, the reason why you don't have a great identity, the reason why you are lacking behind your colleagues around the world, the reason why you are being stigmatized, the reason why your identity theft is because Ashiwa nínú Nigeria. But all this will involve a lot of resources which Yoruba nation does not have today. And I gotta be honest with us, we don't have that resources, and we cannot have it because àwọn tó wà powerful enough are not giving those resources for us to work with. The resources to be able to explore as many of a research center as able to convince our people that we are not Nigerians, we can get out of Nigeria, but they are not ready because the resources here. Please do not call and interrupt this conversation as I am still in the program right now. So whenever we go back and say to our people that we want to go out of Nigeria, want to know, want Tinubu Tinikayebu Nigeria, that is what they're going to start telling you. Wọ́n máa ní Tinubu ó ní káyé bú Nàìjíríà mọ́, because Tinubu sọ fún wa pé Nigeria is not a country you should be cursing. Many of us are cursing Nigeria not because of Bola Tinubu. We are literally cursing Nigeria because that was the British intention, to keep us together and make sure that we do not prosper and have a good life as people. And as I was coming into the program just now, many of you that we keep telling that the Yoruba people can leave Nigeria, I picked up some information that had to do with the British citizen after the exit of the European Union. Do you know that many British citizens would have to struggle because of their red passport holders, and they are at risk because of the post-Brexit travel rules? When you say that lè pín àjọmá wà nínú Nigeria ni, but the British left the European Union without anybody killing each other, why then are we being forced to live together in a union that does not work for me and you? So let's look at this headline that I'm bringing up as well right now to link to this broadcast. So what you can read there says, and I quote, "Urgent warning for the British red passport holders. They are now at risk of post-Brexit exit travel rules. On a typical day, there's about 200 outbound travelers are prevented from departing because of the EU rules on issue and the expiry date." This is coming from the Independent newspaper in UK, according to their travel correspondent, Simon Calder. I know that man very well. And it goes further. And there's also an estimated 32 million British passport holders could potentially fall foul of the post-Brexit exit rules on the validity for travel to European Union. It has emerged. Let's remember that in the Brexit exit deal, UK negotiated for the British travelers to become third country nationals. So many of you that we are saying that we can go out of Nigeria peacefully, but because Africa is not classified as a place that is peaceful, it has been classified as a zoo that you would have to fight each other to get what you need. So if anybody thinks that, you will get the kind of, BRICS exit deal where we will just exit out of Nigeria and become an independent Yoruba country, you are fooling yourself. And I have to be honest with you, because the current state of what Nigeria stands today is an animal kingdom that we have to kill some individuals, or individuals will kill you, because since 1960, like I read from somebody that posted when he said that over 6 million individuals have been killed by the by the Nigerian military, according to this post, where the Nigerian military is saying that we will deal with those that killed 16 innocent 16 innocent military guys. But we know that it has always been them killing us anyway, because if you are not aware, people were killed, massacred during the NSAS in Lagos, and I think something Obiago or something happened. There was another killing of sort in the southeast. I can't remember the exact name, that is called. It seems to all observers of events in Nigeria, and this is by Okechukwu Inwoku 6362 on YouTube, and I'm going to play that video where he actually posted this comment section. It seems to all observers of events in Nigeria that the Nigerian military is at war with its own Nigerian citizens since 1966. After the Biafra War, that the British backed the Nigerian government to fight on their behalf. This time around, it will not be the same, because if there's any war in Nigeria today, many people will lose their life, but the freedom, we will get it. But the Yoruba people are scared to go in that direction, thinking that you will get a diplomacy or diplomatic route to exit Nigeria. You are all fooling yourselves. It's good for that, but in the next 30 years, you will still be part of a country called Nigeria. And by that 30 years, Tinubu will be a very, very old man. I do not pray for his death, because we don't know his actual date of birth, but it seems that he's celebrating 72 today. So I'm just going to go with that official age. So in another 30 years, Tinubu will be 100 years. Actually, 100 years. And Tinubu will have left us in the danger that we should have exited. While he is there right now, it does not mean because he's there as a Yoruba man. It's because it is an advantage for us to tell him right up that the Yoruba people are pulling out. If he wants to kill the Yoruba people, let's start the civil war with Tinubu as a Yoruba man than to go and start a civil war with another president that will be a northerner. That will be a disaster. I would rather want us to fight right now while Tinubu is there. But the soldiers have been killing, the Nigerian military have been killing. So when they went to a place where the police should have done the needful to settle the land dispute, what we have done is the military have gone there because they are part of the cabal that steal the crude oil from the innocent Delta that owns the crude oil in the first place. And that is why there will be more killings in that animal kingdom you are calling Nigeria. So let's read the comment quickly again. It seems to all observers of events in Nigeria that the Nigerian military is at war with its own Nigerian citizens since 1966 till 2024. There is a total of 7 million Nigerians, both soldiers and civilians. Because when you look at the innocent soldiers that should have been equipped very well, they are not equipped because the fraudulent monster chief of defense staff from Buratai and the rest of them have stolen so much wealth that the kit that should have been used to purchase for this innocent military guy to fight the evil monster Boko Haram terrorists and the jihadist ISIS have not been done. And that means we saw in our lifetime where individuals were pushing the military trucks. I've never seen that before. We saw that they don't have the right equipment to fight back. Tolulope Arotile was killed by the Nigerian military, a first class in the 55 years of the Nigerian Air Force. a helicopter combat pilot was killed in the Kaduna, and yet many stupid, idiotic Nigerians are yet still defending a country where the same military have massacred you for a very long time. Just the same way they were almost going to kill Dr. Sunday Igboho at his residence on the 1st of July 2021. Even though he escaped that death, but we lost two innocent Yoruba men. They are not Nigerians. They are Yoruba men that the same Fulani sent their machinery to kill, just like they wanted to kill Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017. And the same Fulani cabal are the same ones that have taken the wealth out of Nigeria from Malami and the rest of them. So when these idiot Nigerians are saying that you want to fix Nigeria, Tolu Adebayo, Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi refused to invest in Nigeria because he knows that that country is a zoo. So as I read this again quickly, so the killings of innocent people, including civilians and soldiers in Nigeria, has been going on for a very long time by the military. The military controlled by one particular region known as the Fulanis. They are not up to 6 million, but the idiot Yoruba and the idiot rest of the Igbos, Hausas that should fight back, we are fighting each other on the petty things on the social media while they have actually captured us, and they have now put in their head on a Yoruba president man called Tinubu that he cannot do anything. He will leave the power, and then you will come out to want to fight them. They will kill every Yorubas and they will kill every Igbo that comes out there. This is the right time that we push this message of peace to Tinubu. And if he doesn't want the peace, then there will be blood. So let's listen quickly to what this idiot military general said that brought up that comment. Once again, my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. And if you're new to the platform, you can also remember that we need your donation. And that donation means that we can be able to do more programs, and we can also expand what we are doing presently. It's voluntary, and the details of that is on the comment section there on the screen, where you can contribute yours as well. For those of you that are doing it monthly, weekly, we appreciate you. But like I said, there's no point 7,000 people are watching us and you cannot give at least 50p each. That is not too much. But it seems that many people are waiting for CNN and the Sky News that doesn't have your time to come and talk about the reason why we need to go out of Nigeria. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. So I have that video ready for us while I'm going to change my screen in just about a few minutes. So, and I do not own the copyright of these. The copyright belongs to Channels Television. So let's bring that back to the screen again. If you're new to the platform, if you like, you can follow us. Or if you don't like, you don't have to follow us. But the truth is, I will not stop talking about the dissolution, disintegration of the zoo country called Nigeria. I'm going to mute my mic so that we can listen to what this man wants to say. All right, bear with me. Not too sure why the sound is not coming out. I'm not too sure why the audio is not coming out. So let's see if I can get a sound from this side. I'm not too sure why it's not coming out from there. Because the audio should be coming out, but not too sure why. So let's play from here. All right, bear with me. Not too sure why the sound is not coming out.
People, take this from me. Our resolve will make Nigeria better, and indeed the entire nation. To the perpetrators of this violence who seek to sow division and fear among our people, take this from me. Our resolve will not wither. We will hunt you down, we will bring you to justice, and will restore peace and security to every nook and cranny of our dear nation. Your evil actions may cause pain and suffering, but they will never extinguish the spirit of unity and resilience that burns within us. Whoever is supporting them, either directly or indirectly, in every way, rest assured, we will get them, we will smoke them out wherever they are, and those who are offering them any support will face the music. That we guarantee.
Well, you've listened to the evil monster that cannot fight a Boko Haram, but they are easy to fight innocent Nigerians. You can hear the rhetorics from that evil military guy that call himself one of the military personnel in the shit zoo country that Tinubu said we should stop cursing. It's 2:26 p.m. local time. It's Happy Good Friday. And thank you so much to many of you that have joined us both online and those of you that are joining us on other platforms. Let's go back again to Ogunlesi. The question is, who is he? And how has he become a very powerful, innocent Yoruba man that has made so much wealth out of his brain power, but he hasn't transformed that into Nigeria, just like Dangote and BUA are doing currently in Nigeria. He moved to New York at the Cravat law firm, but quickly jumped to first posting, later brought by Credit Suisse to work on a Nigerian gas project. 6 months in the deal, died when Nigeria experienced a coup and Ogunlesi client nearly went to jail. This is becoming more interesting. I've not even read this place. So it seems that even this Baba Sef has experienced some kind of problem in Nigeria before. Okay, now it's becoming more interesting. Because from what I'm reading here right now, he moved to New York to work at the Cravat law firm, but quickly jumped to first posting, later brought by Credit Suisse to work on a Nigerian gas project. Then 6 months in the deal when Nigeria experienced a coup. Did you see why people like him have not invested in Nigeria for a very long time? Not that they didn't want to invest, but when they were talking about this, let's see if we can get something. Nigeria experienced a coup and Ogunlesi client nearly went to jail. Let's see if we can get any information on that. Even though okay, I might have to come back on that because I'll have to go and dig the background to that. But you can see now that even though we have not even got to that section before, I was asking why has he not invested in Nigeria? So Oti Shokwe, Babawa Adebayo Ogunlesi did not want to invest in Nigeria because something happened probably some decades ago when Nigeria, 6 months into a deal, died when Nigeria experienced a coup by the Fulani oligarch backed by Britain. So when we talk about the reason why Yoruba has not moved forward, is because of some of these problems. I learned very early on that there is a lot of political risk with infrastructure projects, he said. Let's move forward. At Credit Suisse, Adebayo Ogunlesi forged the connections that later helped global infrastructure partner succeed. He ruffled feathers with a brutal early 2000s restructuring of the investment bank and later became the chief client officer when Adebayo Ogunlesi and his co-founder struck out on their own to launch global infrastructure partner in 2006. Credit Suisse then CEO Oswald Grubel backed them with $1 billion of bank money. A meeting with Jeff Hillman led to $500 million from General Electric. You can see the power of somebody like him. You can see the power. Tí ọmọ Yorùbá yìí ní bàbá yìí. But he refused to bring his investment to Nigeria or even to Yoruba land because he cannot trust there. None of them are trustable. So he did not want to take any risk. So he rather kept his money where their investment. I mean, if we look at infrastructure, he could have brought a lot of infrastructure development from rail project, to beautiful airports across Nigeria, including the southwest, but he did not. Why? It's because sometime before this, he has experienced similar problem with a coup in Nigeria. Building a business, let Adebayo Ogunlesi implement another of Marshall principles. If you can find people who are smarter than you, surround yourself with them and consider your job as a leader to be clearing obstacles out of their way and inspiring them to do the best they possibly can. Let me take that again. According to building a business, let Ogunlesi implement another of the Marshall principles. Tí o bá mọ̀yàn tó smart jù ẹ́ lọ, surround wọn, kó wá consider rẹ as your job as a leader to be clearing the obstacle out of their way, just like Baba Akintoye have done with us for a very long time. But many Yoruba people, kàkà kí a fún bàbá yẹn ní support, what we have done in the last 3 years, kódà tá bá rí pátá bàbá yẹn a fẹ́ já wálẹ̀, kódà tẹ́lómi bá rí ìwòwò bàbá yẹn wọ́n rẹ́dì láti gbé wá sórí social media. That is how they wanted to destroy Professor Adebanji Akintoye, because he was asking that the Yoruba people should move out of Nigeria. And that is what we have done. Ọlọ́run tó sọ pé àwọn onílẹ̀ ò fi bàbá yẹn sílẹ̀, they would have killed him. They would have taken him out, just like they would have done the same to Dr. Oloyegbowo, and just like they would have done the same to Nnamdi Kanu. Some Yoruba people are even happy that Nnamdi Kanu is in custody. Unbelievable. Do you know that some Yoruba people are so excited that now what are you excited about? That Buhari kidnapped rendition Nnamdi Kanu because he does not believe in Nigeria. Maybe we should listen to this, because I've read enough. I've given us a background of who this man is. He's a firepower. He has the money. He has the wealth. He has the connection. The first year were not easy. 600 million equity investment in UK waste management company BIFA in the early 2008 proved disastrous. Some of you, hey, Koiki Bolokowo si Ibolowo wa. We are asking for money. Says, no, I need to come on. You continue to invest in something until you achieve it. Those of you that are popping money into the Biafra, give them as much money so that they can buy more AK-47 to defend their territory. Those of us in Yoruba, let us continue to be fighting and mourning that the Igbos are taking our land in Yoruba land when they are also ready to go, and we should push them to go so that we can go as well, and then draft a constitution that will protect our territory and protect our land. We are not doing that. We cannot even raise money for the media. Unbelievable. You want to fight a monster like Nigeria, and you think that the media is not going to be what you need. Some of you don't believe in us. And that's why I give kudos to the Biafra. They've taken it as their responsibility that every month they will donate as much as possible to buy weapons and defend themselves. Brand new AK-47, and if they can take from the Nigerian military during any operation on their territory, they will take it. Just like the zoo country have allowed terrorists to invade them and take as much weapon, and those weapons has been used on innocent Nigerians. So if you're waiting for somebody like Ogunlesi to come and give you any wealth to support the Yoruba nation, you're wasting your time. Prepare until we are ready, we are going nowhere. But there's also room for us to go. But the problem is, nobody wants the slave to go. They love you as you are being a slave. Many of you today, you are waiting for Peter Obi to come and transform Nigeria. The same Peter Obi that left PDP. You are waiting for Atiku. The same 16 years of the PDP that destroyed Nigeria. Some of you are stupid, idiots. And I always call you bomb bastard, because your hope is not going to happen. I don't know why Yoruba people should be excited that Nnamdi Kanu is in the captivity of the DSS. When an Oyinbo man, because I call him Oyinbo man, was able to run out of Nigeria because we are all stupid. They gave him access to go and pray From that access, he boarded a plane, left Nigeria, and as of today, nobody knows where the Binance executive Nadeem Anjawali, or whatever his name is. Nobody knows where he is. I think I read somewhere that he's even trying to sue the DSS or the EFCC. I don't know which one he wants to sue. Nadeem Najawal is no longer in custody. It took us 3 days for Nigerians to know that he has left Nigeria. After he has settled down somewhere, only God knows where. But Yoruba people always say, don't have anything to do with Biafra, Koikimedia. I say, you call any right to tell me who I will appreciate, because as far as I know, they want to get out of Nigeria. Let's push them out of Nigeria for our own benefit. And if you don't want to push them out of Nigeria, and we are hoping, we are thinking that something will give way for it, that maybe there will be all these fraudulent criminals, politicians from Saraki, a criminal guy that is now using the wealth of Nigeria to feed the people in Ilorin, from Dino Malaye, that is now pushing it to your eyes, a former senator, and the current one from Benga Daniel and Yaya Muiwa, whatever they call themselves. Nobody is going to give room from Abuja for a constitution to be redrafted and allow us to go 30 years from now. Nobody is getting any country. But if we are ready, we will get it. But this lawyer says some few things that I want us to listen to.
If the Constitution maintains by Section 2 that Nigeria is one indissoluble nation and doesn't provide for means or procedure by which a people or a particular sector of the nation, a federating people, can choose to say at this particular point we want to have a nation of our own, and it doesn't provide for a peaceful means by which this can be guaranteed, there will always be frictions that will be leading to violence, killings, and bloodshed. And to avoid this, it is imperative that we look at that provision of Section 2 that says that Nigeria is one indissoluble, indestructible entity that doesn't make provision for the procedure by which a people can advance the right to self-determination. There have been many occasions where, on so many occasions we hear from the Arewa People's Congress or whatever agitating that yes, if Nigeria cannot work, they want to go on their own. The Biafra agitators are there. We have the Odua nation and what have you. If the Constitution provides for a procedure to determine peacefully whether a people can separate from Nigeria, you see that some of these agitations might be completely quenched. For instance, let me give you one. Tomorrow now, if we provide for referendum or plebiscite, these are political procedures for determining whether a nation or a nation in a country, because I want to take the definition of a nation here to mean the ethnic nationalities, maybe the Yoruba nation, the Igbo nation, the Arewa nation, or Ijo, Ibiobio, and what have you. Now, if a people can be entitled to right to call for plebiscite that can be supervised by international organs like the United Nations and what have you, it can be safely and easily determined that, okay, these people in this particular area has done in 1960, in 1959-60, if my recollection is right, with the people of the southern part of Cameroon who formed part of Nigeria before, but when they decided that no, they wanted to be on their own, then a plebiscite was conducted and they were able to have a separate nation of their own. If we say Nigeria is an indissoluble entity and will not tolerate any agitation by which people can determine whether they want to be on their own, definitely we are only calling for crisis on our own net. Tomorrow now, if you subject it to plebiscite, that okay, people of the Igbo nation should decide whether they want to be part of Nigeria or they want to have a nation of their own. You might find a situation that the majority may say they prefer to be in Nigeria rather than having a Biafra. And that will silence the people who are agitating. And if people who are agitating are in the majority by virtue of the plebiscite, why not allow such to just take place peacefully, so that there is no sense in remaining one single entity by force that may lead to bloodshed and what may even be characterized as genocide, because a situation where that is allowed, then we have descended below the level of humanity. So these are some of the provisions going to the political level, to some of the political angle that may require some intervention.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Odua development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves.
We are not Nigerian.
Okay, where is Nigeria? Where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself, because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
Yes, this leader is bad, fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate and say no. But don't condemn your country. Don't curse Nigeria. It's a beautiful land of prosperity. I just have a full belly of rice, my man, everything. So before I overly digest.
And as we come into almost the 2 hours into the program, I'll probably allow 1 or 2 or 3 calls if we are having one based on the conversation. Please do not take us away from a different conversation that is going on some other areas that I've not talked about. Let's focus on the real reason why we're sitting here, because I know when we open the phone line, there's a lot going on that I want to focus on. Let's keep our eyes on the ball. So please, if you're going to call in, there's so many platforms that you can go and discuss that. Okay? And I'm being honest now. If you're going to talk about that, don't call. If you're not going to talk about that, then you are ready to call in. So let's come into the conversation again. Mokiba Bakitoye for standing firm. As we continue to review, that conversation of what Baba Bakitoye told us in regarding to President Bola Tinubu. So within the next 15 minutes, we'll open the phone line. Please do not call in until the next 15 minutes. The number to call is +44 74 0440 5917 +447 404 405 917. Let's listen to what Baba Bakitoye said in terms of the report that he has asked us to use to educate many of us on the reason why we got to get the hell out of Nigeria before it is too late. We have been reading that for some time now, and I'm just going to go straight. We've been dealing with the part 1, and I guess we should read the part 2 so that it gives us a clarity if Tinubu needs to start thinking before it is too late on what he really wants to do when it comes to Nigeria. So that is the document there. So I'm going to be reading it as I have it right here on my with me. I decided to print it out because that way it's easy for me, to read. But faint our screen, you can see right there, so that you can also follow the reading as well. So I'm going to start reading quickly. Let's see as much as what we can gain out of it again today. But again, lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tí ó ń gbọ́ wa nílé tó ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo ibi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa. Mo kí wa pé happy Good Friday, and let's go straight into the part 2. So I want to start with the part 2, and it goes like this. In summary, as these words are being written in late February 2024, that was when Baba Bakitoye wrote this out. Nigeria's economy has collapsed. Nigeria's security has collapsed. Nigerians are living in a life of wrenching poverty and hunger, a life of frightful insecurity and chaos. Important roads have dilapidated for years. Electricity supply has been fizzling out for years. For decades, businesses have been failing or fleeing to other countries. Nigeria's unemployment rate has for decades been among the highest in the world for decades. The quality of education has been falling seriously in all parts of Nigeria. For decades, thousands of educated Nigerians, youth, have been fleeing annually to countries around the world. And those of them who remain in Nigeria have been facing fearful poverty, deprivation, and hopelessness. And the incidence of suicide has been increasing among them. Though Nigeria is one of the largest producers of petroleum in the world, Nigeria is dependent on imported gasoline and has left its own refineries in disrepair, and the price of gasoline has been rising steadily in Nigeria for years. In the past 9 months, the price of gasoline has jumped at 700 naira per litre, beyond the reach of most Nigerians auto owners. Important holders of knowledge of economy, such as the former governor of Nigeria Central Bank, Charles Soludo, the new Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, the new National Security Advisor, Nuru Ribadu, and others are telling the world that Nigerian economy had collapsed before President Bola Tinubu took over from the President Muhammadu Buhari, that Tinubu inherited a bankrupt economy, a bankrupt country rather. Therefore, the value of the Nigerian currency, the naira, stand at 465 to a dollar by the June 2023. Now stand at 2,500. I guess it's come down a little bit to the US dollar and is still falling, causing inflation to skyrocket to 35.41%. and pushing the price of the food staples beyond the reach of most citizens. For instance, a bag of rice now at 80,000 naira, up from 35,000 naira as of June 2023. Terrible hunger grips the lives of most Nigerians. Families are keeping their children away from schools because they cannot feed the children. Before sending them to school, the fear that the children might be kidnapped or killed on their way to or from school. A former Nigerian senator, Senator Shehu Sani from the North, recently offered the information that 10,000 schools have closed down in the North because of the insecurity. An international group, International Civil Society Organization, says that in the first 8 months of Tinubu presidency, the Fulani have killed over 2,423 people and kidnapped 1,872. On the floor of the Nigerian National Assembly, legislators are bursting into tears as they recount the economic suffering and the drastic insecurity of the people of their constituencies, and many legislators are denouncing the Nigerian presidential system and calling for its abolition. Many influential Nigerians are publicly advising ordinary Nigerians to buy guns for self-defense. In all regions of Nigeria, huge number of hungry people are protesting in the street, crying of hunger, condemning President Tinubu, calling for the dissolution of Nigeria. The students of Nigerian universities, Nigerian powerful labor unions, and others are announcing imminent strikes and mass protests. The most eminent Fulani leaders and traditional rulers of the North, who never once raised a voice against Buhari's sponsorship of Fulani and terrorist atrocities all over Nigeria for 8 years, who never said a word against Buhari's abnormal reign of corruption, are now using public statements redolent with criticism of Tinubu and warning and threat of imminent disaster and doom for president and the government and the country. Many are threatening that the military takeover of the Nigerian government is imminent. Some Nigerian women are going stark naked on street protests. Some pundits are warning that, according to the cultures of many Nigerian people, protests by naked adult women in the street can invite terrible consequences on Nigeria. Even small children in their elementary schools are adding their tiny but strident voices to the swelling storm of protest. Many respected elders in different part of Nigeria are publicly and responsibly proposing that Nigeria should be dissolved now in the interest of all the peoples and citizens of Nigeria. spokesman for the Yoruba people, the Igbo people, and now surprisingly the Hausa people, the three largest nationalities in Nigeria, now want self-determination for their respective nations and peaceful separation from Nigeria. The Hausa used to be regarded as a subservient to the Fulani, but now the Hausa people have woken up and they are therefore being killed and brutalized by the Fulani and are credibly defending their own land and people. The Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa together account for about 160 million in population out of Nigeria's total population of nearly 220 million. Naturally, most people on the protest trail today see President Tinubu as the cause of all their economic woes, but they are mostly wrong. The collapse of the truculent, twisting, distortion, corruption, degradation of the Nigerian economy and political life, the pathetic, incompetent, and brutal corruption of the recent 8 years under President Buhari finally complete the killing of the Nigerian economy. President Tinubu believes he can heal the Nigerian economy, but in spite of his confidence, his chances of success in that venture are realistically and sadly close to zero. Healing is for the sick, not for the dead. And even if President Tinubu, by the dint of resoluteness and with the help of the capable assistant whom he has called up, like Mr. Adebayo Ogunlesi, succeed in healing Nigeria's economy to an extent, Nigerian economy will certainly return to its downward trajectory after him. The forces pushing Nigeria downward cannot push in any other direction than downwards. There is no other country in the world about whom Nigeria's kind of story can be told. The story of a country that earned for many years some of the largest revenue in the world from petroleum or any other resources, and that has continued to earn much of such revenues and has yet ended up as #1 home of extreme poverty in the world. Trying to lift Nigeria up sustainable is a futile venture. After publicly admitting that some of the Nigerian's economic problems defy solution, President Tinubu took courageous action by inviting all the state governors to work with him. And he and the other together began to consider some economic relief measures. The establishment of state police, which has never happened, it is still part of the fraud. So when they say state police, where is the state police? It is just something that was said, it has not been implemented. So don't ever say you have a state police in that shit old zoological country called Nigeria. Even a restructuring agenda, but among most Nigerians, these actions are regarded as too late, too little, and too late. If anybody is saying that we want to restructure Nigeria, the question is you will never get one, and Tinubu will complete his tenure, return power back to the north. Even as measures being hurriedly promoted by the politicians to enable them to hold on to their positions in Nigerian politics, which is what they do best, and their stakes in the Nigerian corruption system, which is what they do best. Go and ask all those that work with Buhari, even Rotimi Amechi. Restructuring through the many prominent citizens have been saying much about it cannot stop the Fulani from spreading out to kill, destroy, kidnap in many parts of Nigeria, since there will still be in Nigeria citizens. State police is a good step, but its establishment requires a prolonged process of constitutional amendment, which will not happen even after 8 years of this current administration. Altogether, the stark truth that many Nigerians do not want to accept today is that Nigeria has come to an end, just as Slobodan Milosevic did not want to accept that Yugoslavia was coming to an end and has come to an end. He eventually died in the custody of the International Criminal Justice. I do not pray that Tinubu go through that route, but if there's no peace, there will definitely be blood. The man who bears the ultimate responsibility. So this is now advice coming from the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is a fatherly advice and it's entirely up to Tinubu to take that advice, but you cannot hold the Igbo people or the Biafrans that wants to go. Neither can you hold those of us that are campaigning, but the Yorubas that are going must be prepared for eventualities. The man who bears the ultimate responsibility for the next steps for Nigeria beyond this point is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that I believe is also celebrating his 72th birthday, even though we don't know the original age. He can choose to go to maneuvering and trying on and on. He can bring as many of 50 Adebayo Ogunlesi that has a business worth billions and trillions of dollars. If he likes, he can invite all the billionaires around the world America has the highest billionaire. Next is UK. Next is India. Let them come and invest in Nigeria. That country will not propel, just as we saw with the zoo of the, just as we saw Titanic that went down and never been brought up. The man who bears this now is Bola Tinubu. He can choose to go maneuvering and trying on and on until Nigeria explodes in the rivers of blood. We don't pray for blood, but as people of man of God have seen it, that there will definitely be a bloodbath in Nigeria. When that is going to happen, I don't have the vision to that. So if anybody says there's not going to be a bloodbath in Nigeria, I can bet you there will be, and I'm quoting from many sources that have said it, that Nigeria is currently going in that direction. That is what the most powerful leader of Yugoslavia, Slobodan Milosevic, did. And shout out to my beautiful mom and my wives and my children as well. Did in 1989 to the 1990, when everybody was saying that Yugoslavia was coming to an end, Slobodan Milosevic refused to accept that it was coming to an end. Eventually, he died, and yet it breaks up. So if you look on the screen, for those of you that are watching us on the screen, you will see that this is the map of how former Yugoslavia now looks like. Let me give you the round quickly for those that are listening on the MixLR and those that are listening on the Twitter space. In 1991, Slovenia left Yugoslavia to become an independent country. Whether they are doing very well or not is not the issue. They've decided to move and take their freedom from blood. And that means that they fought to get their way out. We hope that the Nigerian situation doesn't get to that end. But the way things are right now, whether we like it or not, 2-3 years, there will be civil war in Nigeria, and we will not come out of that. But by the time we leave that, we will all become free from the bondage of the British creation of Nigeria. Macedonia left in 1991. Central Serbia left. Kosovo left in 2008. Montenegro left in 2006. Croatia left in 1991. Bosnia and Herzegovina left in 1992. The Yoruba will leave, the Biafra will leave, but that is subject to when that is going to happen. So Tinubu has what it takes to do the needful, and this is an advice again from Babakitoye. So we know that Yugoslavia, according to the history, says Slobodan Milosevic did in 1989 to 1990. When Yugoslavia was one country, had obviously come to an end. Many Yoruba politicians, they are criminals. They are criminals that needs to be locked up inside the lion den and allow the lion to deal with them. But the stupid Yorubas that are sitting behind the curtains and hoping that this monstrous zoo country where the politicians have become the lion, 5 million Yoruba people can push things around and stop this genocide. But the 5 million are ready to take peanuts from the same corrupt politicians that have used them for a very long time. When Yugoslavia as one country had obviously come to an end, Slobodan Milosevic chose to continue to keep Yugoslavia together at all costs, and by all means, and he did so until massive rivers of blood. That means there was a lot of fighting, killings, as we can see happening right now in Haiti and Sudan and other countries around the world. Flow and countless thousands of people were perished until the truth finally asserted itself that Yugoslavia needed to dissolve until Yugoslavia dissolved into 8 different countries, until Slobodan Milosevic himself ended up before an international criminal tribunal charged with serious crimes against humanity, until he died alone and wretched death in tribunal's prison custody. But in contrast, President Tinubu can do another way around, which is of the way of the Soviet by Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev knew that he was the president as at the time of Soviet Union from 1985 to 1991. Some of you were just born around that time, and today, a lot of you that are born today asking us to save Nigeria. Your father, your mother, your great-grandfather were unable to save Nigeria. It is time that we end Nigeria just as Soviet Union was ending in 1985 up to 1991. There was no bloodshed. Everybody left, and today they are living their life, even though there's no problem between Ukraine and Russia. So Tinubu can go that route, can do as Mikhail Gorbachev, the president of the Soviet Union, did in 1985 to 1991. in 1990, when the great, and I use the word great, when some of you are saying it is a great country called Nigeria, yes, it used to be a great country, but it was never a country that was put together. It was for a purpose. That purpose has expired in 2014, and I'll be giving you evidence to back that in another few minutes. So, what happened in Soviet Union can happen in Nigeria. Gorbachev decided humbly surrender to the truth, which President Tinubu must accept, which some of your politicians will not have to accept, but we might have to push them to accept it. Gorbachev humbly surrendered to the truth that the end had come for the Soviet Union, and he was therefore able to shepherd his country into a peaceful dissolution, thereby preempting a massive and devastating war that will probably have consumed millions of lives. There is no war presently in Nigeria, at least directly, but there is an internal war indirectly where the military continue to commit as many genocide, which they've done since 1966 till date. While considering these options, the two options is on the table with Tinubu. If he likes, let him look away and be eating moi moi like he said in that audio, and be eating rice until the war comes to his doorstep. President Tinubu needs to be aware of the following important fact: that the separation of people from a country of diverse peoples, or the dissolution of a country of diverse people into a smaller countries, if accomplished peacefully, is not a tragedy at all. He needs to browse the history of some of the countries that separated peacefully. He will find stories of subsequent prosperity in all cases. Most of you would like to be in Belgium. Belgium separated from Holland in 1830. Some of you probably don't know that. Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland, which separated different times over a long time. Republic of Ireland separated from Great Britain in 1921. As I speak to you today, a lot of Nigerians that are living there today are living there, but yet they don't want us to break away. If Ireland did not break away from Nigeria, from Britain, maybe you will still be part of UK with their law that might not favor you, as many Nigerians left this country to go and live there because they were giving them papers, which they call immigration. It's not a war when you separate. Singapore have done it before. They separated from Malaysia in 1965. That's about 5 years after Nigeria got the fraudulent independence. The 14 countries which arose from the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Czech, the Slovakia republics, which separated in 1993. So separation is not a war if it's even done in a peaceful way. But if any of your politicians think that they have the monopoly for violence, let's say that the monopoly for violence is everybody's right. But one thing is, why do we need to go through that route when we can get the freedom, without a gunshot? President Tinubu, there was also a country called the East Timor. East Timor separated from Indonesia, but there was a lot of bloodbath for 30 years. They eventually got their independence on the May 20, 2002. And like I always say all the time, majority of you Nigerians will never get to this country. You'll have to pay a lot of money to get a visa. But if you live in East Timor, you can get to this country easily with just 180 days to live here, and then you can return back to East Timor. We are told that we are Commonwealth, yet we are not Commonwealth because that is part of the lies that we have been told. So each time we come out here, we give you the fact that NTA will never tell you. So let's go further. So President Tinubu also needs to note that countries which separated violently tend to be dodgy by violence afterward. That is the case of Pakistan and India. They are always on top of each other. South Sudan went in violence today, which separated their years of violence from Sudan in 2002. Some of the 8 countries that resulted from the violent dissolution of Yugoslavia. So what Babakito is saying that if Tinubu allow Nigeria to go through the rivers of blood, when we eventually get to where we are going, there will still be some issues that will need to be resolved. What can a peaceful, negotiated departure of any nation that seeks to separate from Nigeria, or a peaceful negotiated dissolution of a Nigeria give to humanity? Question mark. Nigerian peoples are now trapped in Nigerian space that is churning in an unabdominable cause of utter darkness, unspeakable poverty, hunger, hatred, hostility, mass murder, fears, and death. The hatred and hostility are so deep that even now, some people in northern Nigeria, in the midst of the killings and kidnapping all over Nigeria, and in the midst of the mass cries of hunger, are blocking the northern entry to the Jebba Bridge on the River Niger and turning back food trucks in order to stop even the small amount of food that is coming to the southern Nigeria, especially to southwestern Nigeria. Avoidly, in order to starve out whose peoples in southern Nigeria, a peaceful negotiated parting of ways from this home of horrors can reduce or even eliminate fear and hatred and hostility, and can ultimately result in mutual respect, peaceful borders, friendly and mutual helpful neighbors, general progress, prosperity, happiness for all. In the end, the choice belongs to President Tinubu. He stands to earn historic honor, fame like Gorbachev, or the historical condemnation and infamy like Milosevic. So it's up to him. His official assistants are doing nothing wrong by advising him to hold on and keep trying. It is understandable that they see that as their loyal duty to him, but it is he that must take his decision. He must know that whatever way he decides, he cannot now stop the truth from having his way in Nigeria. Situation. Nigeria has reached the point of breaking up, whether in peace or in pieces. So it's entirely up to President Bola Tinubu to decide whether in peace or it's going to happen in pieces. Tinubu needs to understand that you cannot hold people that wants to go their separate ways. You can try, but you cannot stop us. So when some of you say we are just joking, we are fooling ourselves, we are wasting our time, but Tinubu knows that we are not wasting our time. That is why the president is now pleading with many of you that you should stop cursing a country that belongs to you as a proud citizen. And that goes like this.
But fine. Wait until it's time to renew his mandate and say no. But don't condemn your country. Don't curse Nigeria. It's a beautiful land. Land of prosperity.
Well, they can deceive him. That is the land of prosperity. The land doesn't belong to Nigeria. The land belongs to the Yorubas and the rest of those as well. So like I said, I'll just leave room for maybe 1 or 2 calls if I have it. If not, I'll start winding up the program in the next 10-15 minutes. I'd like to appreciate everyone that have joined us again this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the bank holiday, which we're enjoying right now in UK. And I hope that many of you will stop calling God, because God is not stupid. He has given us the intelligentsia. He has given us the power, the zeal to pull out of the mess that the English, British system kept for a very long time. That empire needs to collapse, but it has to be done by us, and that is what we are doing today. This platform is not a violent platform. This platform stands for self-determination, and that self-determination will be respected, as we say. So let's take the first caller as we have it again this afternoon. And please, again, let's stick to the message that we brought here today. And we'll take with the first caller. You're live with us first. You're welcome, sir.
God bless you very richly, and thank you very much for your presentation. I hope our people will listen to this kind of presentation. I don't think any media, any international media house can do better. And I want to sincerely say a big thank you to you on behalf of our Yoruba. Now, from all that we've been talking about, calling on Ogunle to come and invest is a waste of time. That will not lead to anywhere. It's not a fool. It's not ignorance of the Nigerian system. So it's not going to risk it. So that is that as far as that is concerned. Now my other contribution is to the idiots that that are saying, hey, don't talk with Igbo, don't do anything with the Biafrans. They are stupid because how many Biafrans or how many Igbos do we have in our forests? How many of them are killing our farmers? Even in the cities where they live with us, like Lagos, how many of them are attacking us there? So, but those who are calling, they are people who are just focusing on petty things, petty hatred, which doesn't make any sense. They leave the real enemies, which are the Fulanis, and they are talking about the Biafrans. What has Nnamdi Kanu done to deserve anybody to say, hey, they want him to be there? It's good when it comes to practice barbarity. And I want to say it's because a lot of them have been conditioned that every situation that is abnormal, that is animalistic, is all that they ask as a value right now. So I'm not really going to blame them, but it's because they are idiots and they are animals that have been brought up in the jungle called Nigeria. See, when you only to but the fact remains that they are raised in Nigeria and their brain has been corrupted, such that when they see a military man flogging an innocent person, even for wearing camouflage on the street, the first thing they will say is because their brain is corrupt. You understand? That's the situation that people. But one thing I want us to stand on is this. Now they are talking about constitutional amendments, so people are talking about restructuring. I agree totally with the position of Architect Akinola. There is nothing to restructure about Nigeria. And before you even ask the question of restructuring, the first question is, do we want to remain in that entity called Nigeria? That's the first question. If that question is not answered, nobody should talk about restructuring. Nobody should agree to any constitutional amendment. And I think that is where our mobilization should go. Because let's forget it. Tinubu, anytime we are doing analysis, please don't let us say Tinubu has 8 years. He doesn't have 8 years. Practically, he doesn't have 8 years. And if we don't go, because they have been manipulating in the past, Jonathan was unable to manipulate. So what if he is not able to manipulate? And even as I'm speaking to you today, what guarantee do I have if I will wake up tomorrow? It's the same thing for everybody, regardless of whether it's the president or not. Anybody can die anytime. And for that reason, we have to be prepared for the eventuality that can come. And our stand should be nothing like restructuring. What we want is, let us first of all ask the question. This union that we have been is expired in 2014. Let us start from there. Do we want to be there? If we now have if we have a referendum and the majority say yeah, we want to be there, then we cannot talk of restructuring. But if that has not been done, we cannot jump the gun. My brother OLAYOMI KOIKI,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's a organized place. Nigeria is a jungle, and animals are all over the place. Thank you so much, my brother.
Well, and that's our first caller. You have the right as well. This is when you also add your input. You can disagree with me. If you still believe in one Nigeria, you can come and argue with us right here on this program. We are not here condemning our uncle, our daddy, Ogunlesi. We are just doing an analysis, like I said, but regarding while he has not invested in Nigeria for a very long time, and now realize that in the interview he granted with Financial Times, which I've shared the link out in case you want to go and do a follow-up to that as well. It stated clearly that they were doing some business in Nigeria, and then in 6 months there was a coup, and he almost also lost a friend that could have been jailed. Remember that the same thing is what Nadeem has done. I've not yet to defend Nadeem the Binance, but it seems that something is gone wrong in Nigeria for a very long time. So this is the time. But before then, I'll be reading some of the comments that have come through during the course of the program. Because when we start a program, we are not here joking. We are very, very serious. This platform is not a comedy platform. There are a lot of people that are listening. There are a lot of intellectuals that are listening. But please, this is not the time to sit back. Asiko Ikola and Joko Pada saying, Asiko Tagbodo, remain the eyes on the ball. Muki brother wa Bruyubani. You say good afternoon, Mr. Koiki. Muki, Mr. Babatunde. Olatunji said the campaign for self-determination will continue. Nigeria is not a country. We cannot continue with this nonsense of a big prince they call Nigeria. Hearing the word Nigeria saddens my heart. He also went to say the Fulani and the Hausa will destroy whatever development may have been put in place by President Bola Tinubu-led administration. They are the natural disaster. Moki Babawa Adebayo King. The North will never allow a regional government because they are scared to lose their pot of soup. He went further to say, Mr. Babatunde Olatunji says, Mr. Adebayo Gulesi should please support the struggle for our Yoruba self-determination. This is the only way he can make a good history for himself. He should use his money to liberate his people, which is a good advice, and we hope he will be able to do so. Let me read some of the comments that have come from the Koikimedia as well, as many of you have put as well. Adekunle Ramon, good afternoon. And Mr. De Ayodele Owolade, good afternoon to you. Prince Adebayo Shitu, good afternoon. Ifani Mole Aye on Ekusheta Kutakuba Bawa Koiki. Whether the Western world or their illegal agent like it or not, Nigeria is dead, buried by Olodumare. Then you also went further to put some nice comment there again. Tinubu is not for the indigenous people of Oduduwa. He's an agent that was assigned by the useless Western power to continue to oppress the people. Ms. Yawa Taiwo Kike Mukinyi, and then I guess we have Bishop that is coming through as well. Alan Conde said Nigeria is a place of crime. Nigeria, a country criminal built in 1914 for their own evil plan. Moki Honorable Kayode, but for now, President says he knows they listen to online people. He's been listening, and that is the reason why he knows what is happening online. Let's listen to our commentator here and the political analyst on our economy section, Bishop Adesina. And welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Koiki. I won't stay long because I'm in Bengo. Ogunlesi will not invest in Nigeria because Ogunlesi is not a fool. I understand what the presidency or the president is trying to do. Before this time, there is a governor in Ogun State that time already invited Ogunlesi to Ogun State to come and invest in, I think, airport or something. They saw the way he managed the UK airport import and they managed it, so they were reading in an individual, bought a British airport and managed it, and they found out that he's a Yoruba man, so they decided that they don't have good thing to do, but only to be shouting for other people and behaving like a parasite. So Ogunlesi came and investigates where they show him and all that. There is something about investors. I'm an investor myself. There's something about investors. There is a way we investigate and look at something before we invest our money. So Ogunlesi did not give them negative answer. He went and never came back. It's just as simple as that. So it doesn't matter what the Mr. President is inviting him to Abuja. There is nothing sinister or special in Ogunlesi has entered White House, not so coming there, he will listen to what Mr. President has to say. Then it's not for him, but I know Ogunlesi will never put his hard-earned assets to come and invest here in Nigeria because Nigeria have existential security risk at present. So he will not come. He will not put his days in here. So that's very clear and sure. But I think all these táwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ń ṣe kiri wọ̀nyí. I've said that, I told Baba Akintoye I think some few months ago that irú Ogunlesi yẹn yóò yẹ káwọn ẹgbẹ́ lọ bá ọba sọ̀rọ̀. Àtúntò àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá bẹ́ẹ̀ káàkiri torí ẹ̀ kọ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀ kọ́ pé jókòó. Èyí tó máa lẹ́sìn tí wọ́n wà bẹ́ẹ̀, èyí tí ò ní lẹ́sìn tó máa fi pé òun fẹ́ wàhálà ó wà bẹ́ẹ̀.
Okay.
But gbogbo wọn mọ nǹkan tí gbogbo tẹgbẹ́ wọn dálé lórí. I don't understand what the purpose of àwọn míì, the purpose of Yẹgẹlẹ, and at the end is what they stand for, what the nǹkan tẹgbẹ́ wọn stand for. At the end ẹ máa rí wípé you just see at the end wọn máa bára wọn jà tó máa tako the leadership of the movement tó máa yapa I don't know what's wrong with Yoruba people. So I just think that we that find ourselves, you keep on doing what we need to do. The back ends, we continue to be living and believing till we achieve what we want to achieve. Thank you.
ẹ ṣé gan ni mo kí Bishop Adesina mo kí ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ń wò wá látọ̀dọ̀ Àlùkà Yorùbá Nation Àfọ̀njá TV mo kí bàbá wa Gbájé Wàsíù ní àkó ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mo kí bàbá wa Akérèlé Ebenezer. With the situation of things now, other method of freedom needs to be applied. It's up to our leaders. And bàbá wa Adéṣeun Adéwálé ní happy birthday bàbá mo tó ń ṣe birthday bí a Tinubu lẹ́yìn yẹn. Yes, because Tinubu's birthday, I guess, is today. So, appreciation again to Mr. Felix. Felix, please, Koiki, have you let you something going on? I want to let you know something going on in those states. There's a lot going on everywhere in Yoruba land. You can send a message. Honorable Kaudeni, every money embezzled in politics of Nigeria. You also say before. Now, President Tinubu says he's not here. He doesn't listen to online. Simon Adebe says, shout out to you. So, as King Koshe, just a brief narration lórí Yorùbá internationalism òṣì tó máa pẹ́ púpọ̀ mọ́ because we gotta start winding down. Fáǹfààní ẹ̀yin tí ẹ gbọ́ gbogbo Gẹ̀ẹ́sì tí a ti ń sọ ní àti bíi wákàtí méjì àtàbọ̀. Bàbá wa tí ẹ̀ ń rí lẹ́yìn mi ni wọ́n ń pè ní bàbá wa Adébáyọ̀ Ògúnlẹ́sì tí ó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá àtàtà tí President Bọ́lá Tinubu invite wá sí Aso Rock ìyẹn ní àná I believe. Àkọ́kọ́ tí mo bèrè ni pé kí ló dé tí Muhammadu Buhari fún ọdún mẹ́jọ kò invite irú bàbá yìí wá látara àwọn iṣẹ́ tí irú bàbá yìí ti ṣe níta bí a ti ṣe gbọ́ láwọn iṣẹ́ ribiribi àti opportunity tí wọ́n ti fi di tí wọ́n dì lẹ́nìí pé kí ló dé tí Buhari ìyẹn ṣe bàbá tí kò gbèrú bàbá yìí wá. Ara ìdí tí a ṣe ń sọ pé a kì í ṣe kankan náà ẹ rí pé Tinubu ń rẹ́rìn múkẹ́lẹ́ nínú àwọn tí wọ́n yà yìí ó ṣò pé inú Tinubu dùn pé òun láǹfààní àti gbé bàbá yìí wá sínú Aso Rock. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ Tinubu kọ́ ló ní Aso Rock tó bá máa fi di ọdún mẹ́rin ó dà ọ máa dìbò fún ìgé wọn ní dìbò fún ọdún mẹ́rin péré ni ó ní láti wà ní orí oyè tó wà tóun náà bá wá ṣe tán nínú Aso Rock bíi aṣíwájú ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà òun náà máa di àlejò gẹ́gẹ́ bí Buhari náà ṣe máa di àlejò lẹ́nu àti Jonathan àti àwọn ìyàwó àwọn tó ti ṣe president rí. Ìbéèrè táwa tó wá ń béèrè ni pé bàbá wa Ògúnlẹ́sì a rí pé nígbà tí wọ́n invest rí sínú Nàìjíríà nígbà tí wọ́n náà ṣe investment yẹn lẹ́yìn oṣù mẹ́fà ní military coup dé gbogbo ẹ̀ dàrú. Kí ló dé tí wọ́n ṣe wá tí invest láti ìgbà yẹn tó bá tẹ̀ wá invest nísìn tí Tinubu gbé wọn wá kí ló máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí Tinubu máa lọ ṣé wọ́n lè protect business wọn àbí báwo gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni agbéyẹ̀wò. Àtúnkà ìwé tí bàbá Akíntóyè ní ká máa fi kà síta pé Nàìjíríà ó gbọ́dọ̀ pín látara bí Soviet Union ṣe pín tí kò mú jà dání àbí ó kù sọ́wọ́ bàbá Tinubu bó bá fẹ́ kó pín bí ti Yugoslavia tó mú ìjà àti ìtàjẹ̀sílẹ̀ wá. Lóòótọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní àfẹ́ ìtàjẹ̀sílẹ̀ tá a bá fẹ́ ìtàjẹ̀sílẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ fáwọn olóṣèlú wa pé àwa ò àṣe Nàìjíríà mọ́ torí àwọn olóṣèlú báyìí wọ́n ti ń gbáradì fún 2027. Tó àníríjì bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ní ọ̀sán yìí mo kí gbogbo wa Abdulbasit mo kí yín mo kí Dizzyman 123 tó sọ pé Yorùbá nation self-determination is an inalienable right. Inalienable right ni Gani Olóyèdé ni our caller is not too late for we Yorùbá nation to contact our father Ògúnlẹ́sì. They should take it up now. Mo kí ẹ easy mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ lẹ́ǹkan sí mo kí gbogbo wa o àtẹni tó gbọ́ àtẹni tó ì tí gbọ́ mo kí àwa Sarah Oyèlọ́wọ̀ mo kí àwa Comfort Ológunjà mo kí Ẹkúnlé Bakers mo kí ìyàwó Olúwafísáyọ̀mí Christy mo fi Elédùmarè kí yín mà Lagos for sure mo kí bàbá wa Ọ̀nà Adéọlá Fortune Michael mo kí ẹ brother mi Kúnlé Ayọ̀yọmí mo kí yín dáadáa mo kí Babátúndé Ahmed brother mi ẹ̀gbọ́n wa Shitu Ọmọwùnmí mo kí àwa lẹ́ǹkan sí Sarah Oyèlọ́wọ̀ mo kí bàbá mi Adéhùnmí Oníbòkun mo kí ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá látòkè délẹ̀ ní gbogbo bíi tí ẹwà tí ẹ ti ń bá wa di ilé mú mo kí Sheikh Lọ́látọ́ Adélabú mo kí Erin Jobi Julius Taiwo Salako mo kí sister mi Ṣọlá Salako náà mo kí Alhaji Ibrahim Alabi mo kí Mr. Sanjay mo kí àwọn Biafra mo kí government in exile of the Biafra Mazi Simon Ekpa mo kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́tùn lósì kọbẹ Elédùmarè kó túbọ̀ máa bá a fìṣọ́ ẹ̀ṣọ́ Simon Ekpa kó wá bá wa tú Nnamdi Kanu náà sílẹ̀ ní inú ìgbèkùn tí wọ́n fi sí táwọn Fúlàní fi sí àmọ́ reason tí Tinubu ò dá sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn torí pé ó yẹ kó ti dá sí i mo kí akéde brother mi lórí Twitter space mo kí ọmọ Yorùbá náà ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí mo kí yín pé ẹ ṣé gan tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa àwa náà ọmọ Yorùbá tàtà akí gbogbo lé o mo kí bàbá wa Chief Sunday Igboho Oòṣà mo kí ìyàwó Felicia Àjàgbé grandma mo kí gbogbo àwọn His Royal Highness ìyá mi Òsínbẹ́lú Fúnmi mo fi tẹlẹdùmarè kí yín mà brother mi kan ní Araga 120 only if they are blocking the food that are coming to the southern part of the country it is time the southerners block their influx of northerners to the south wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ń wọlé ó tójọ́ mẹ́ta ẹni tá a bá wá dárúkọ ó reflector sí ìròyìn reflector ẹni tá a bá wá dárúkọ ẹ má fi ṣèbínú mo kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ti gbọ́ wa ẹni tó máa tún gbọ́ mo kí náà bàbá mi Kẹ́hìndé Sálàmì mo fojú pa yín rẹ́ mo wá kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Twitter gangan náà mo kí George Akínọlá mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ̀ jẹ́ pé onísọ̀pọ̀tì APC náà ní ṣe ń sọ àwọn ọba Tinubu jà àmọ́ ó kù sí lọ́wọ́ ó direct Nàìjíríà tí kò ní mú tàjẹ̀ sílẹ̀ tó o bá ti ṣe ìkànnì méjèèjì ni is either peace or peaceful mo kí brother mi dìran mo rí pé ó dà pé ẹ̀yin ti Tinubu nìyẹn mo ti rí picture Tinubu nínú àwòrán yín fìlà Tinubu nìyẹn mo kí yín we are not here fighting those that believe in the APC or the PDP. What we are saying is we are concerned Yoruba people that want an independent country. Ẹ̀dẹ́ màmá sọ fún wa pé àsìkò tí tó kò sígbà tásìkò kan tí tó àsìkò tí tó láti máa lọ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà kò mú wàhálà dání àmọ́ tí ẹ bá jẹ́ ká lọ wàhálà ń bọ̀ mo kí brother mi Mr. Fab mo ṣe rí comment lẹ́ẹ̀kan again. So as on that note if we have the strength we come back out later in the night if otherwise enjoy the rest. Ìyàwó mi ti wò mí pé lálẹ́kẹ̀ ìwọ́kẹ̀ military rẹ̀ kì í sùn sójà no dey sleep. Ẹ sọ fún Ọbásanjọ́ tó ń fò káàkiri mo rí tó ń fò láti ibìkan sí ibìkan kó má lọ ṣubú àwọn bàbá ẹ̀ka nìyẹn so kọ́lọ̀ kó ṣàánú wa. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá kò sẹ́nì kankan tó máa jẹ́ kẹ́ lọ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ o you fight to get your freedom and freedom doesn't come cheap. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń tà ní Tesco wọ́n ń tà ní Alaba market wọ́n ń tà ní Agége ibi tá a ti máa béèrè fún òun náà láti wà yìí mobilization là ń ṣe at some point Tinubu sọ pé òun ò believe in Nigeria article yẹn òun lélẹ̀ so bó ṣe tó wá di pé ó believe in one Nigeria kọbẹ̀ Elédùmarè kó wá pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Have a very good afternoon enjoy the rest of the day and like I said we'll be back again if we have the strength if otherwise make sure you tune in. Mo gbàgbé ìtẹ̀mí lórí MixLR. I almost forgot. Muki Ogunmola Abiodun. Is Tinubu even pushing any hope? I don't think so. Muki Akin Games. Muki Ugbo darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí MixLR. And have a very great Friday. And Yoruba Nation is our right and it's an inalienable right. Kò tí sẹ́ni tó lè dá dúró. Amẹ́ríkà ò tó bẹ́ẹ̀. Mo sọ fún yín, Amẹ́ríkà ò tó bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ lọ ohun tó ń lọ létí. Saheed Jimoh mo kí yàwá Òjó mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́tún lọ́sẹ̀ so America try mo kí olórí ẹbí wa Wàlátà mo kí Mr. Akínládé mo kí yàwá Títílọlá Shaw mo kí Mr. Sunday Wálé mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀ lọ́tún lọ́sẹ̀ gbogbo kọ́mẹ́ǹtì pátápátá náà lárí mo kí bàbá wa Busari Kazeem thank you so much ọmọ Lísàbí mo kí ẹ Ṣẹ́gun ọ̀nà ni dey smoke army officer I am that alone. Safety domain architect Akinola I agree 100%. We cannot be talking about restructuring if the question of who wants to remain in the union for Nigeria. Muki this man thank you so much. Bola Tinubu said he inherited bankrupt economy from former president. Both are from the same party and they want to continue the party's agenda. So thank you so much and I have to go now. Have a very blessed afternoon. Yoruba Nation for life. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Yẹmí Fátókí inú sáìtì yìí níbẹ̀. Ẹ tí bàdárúkọ, don't take it personal. Bye for now. Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. And Eric Low, bye for now. Mukibaba Warij Jinadu, Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Thank you so much all. Bye now.